Hello YouTube, this is Chaos Ripper and this is another episode of Sudeki Grind Level Up. Yeah man, I'm hoping everybody's having a blessed one, a fantastic day. I'm hoping everything in your day is going phenomenally well, like the rocket pack on this man's back. Well, you know what's about to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna go level up. You know what I'm saying? Go do it. But I'm hoping everything in your life seriously is going well. And I'm just happy and overall just great. I hate to say it that way. I mean, it might not seem like it sometimes, depending on whatever I'm going through. But honestly, I'm just feeling great. And I'm hoping you're feeling great too. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. I gotta remember to raise my voice a little bit. Man, I gotta find something to talk about too, because I know I end up talking about the same stuff over and over again. Let me see. What would be a decent? I got one, but I'm not. Let me say this right now. I am not an expert in what I'm about to talk about. I am not an expert. D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. The one major thing that I am not good at all, in no way, form, or fashion. I am a beginner all the way, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is no caveat to this. I truly do horribly because I'm used to playing video games. I'm not gonna lie. I'm used to playing video games. That is my thing. Like this. This is a video game, and if you notice, now I'm no expert, but what you got? The knight, the magician, the alchemist, scientist, the warrior. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And they state, depending on what game you're playing, the roles can be switched, combined, and things of that nature. So I do wish that, because everything is from your mind, right? Like everything is mental, or unless you have figures or something like that, or they have paper to add and subtract and multiply and divide. Like, why in the world don't they use D&D in classrooms? Like, do you know how many people will actually read a book if they knew they could use the same skills in a classroom to essentially, oh wow, I just got murked. Oh god, hold on. I finally get to use this.
Always one step ahead.
First, to make everybody faster, but then, oh goodness gracious! Wait, I'm messing up. Oh no! I keep switching. Where's my resurrection?
From the depth of the void comes the pain of the fallen.
It's literally the first time I'm using this. So cool. 2 for the price of 1. Okay, so he's brought back, but he has no. Oh wait, did I do? Hold on, let me see. Oh, I forgot yeah, I do got that on him. Yay, rapture and joy. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, let me say this quick. If you're used to just playing video games, that is the only thing you usually do. Preferably an action video game like Devil May Cry or Bloodborne or trying to think of another action RPG or something like that, right? Devil May Cry, Bloodborne, that kind of thing. That, you know, then playing a game where you have to use your imagination, and I think the big disconnect a lot of the times is basically like the systems in place where in most video games all you're really trying to do is level up so you can be strong enough to beat whoever you need to beat, find whatever you need to find, and then move on, right? But in tabletop RPGs, a lot of the times it's all about the story, you know. Big part is about just the story, number one thing, you know. And a lot of people get disconnected that way because it is about grinding, don't get me wrong, but you grind, but the story is the number one thing for it. You know, you gotta level up, though. It's not, it'll get boring if you're stuck at one level. But for the most part, it's mostly story based. It's gotta be about the story, the crazy things you can do with your NPC. Right? Like that's like the big thing, you know, story based, you know. And I think that's why a lot of people get, and then the rules are, they can change if you wanted to, you can move it around, you can, you know, depending on who's your GM or grandmaster or something, whatever, of the game. Which don't, you know, anybody who's, you know, get offended, that's why they call it GM. You know, that's just, he controls the game. And a lot of people don't realize that is you versus the GM, but the GM makes the rules. But he wants to keep it fair and keep the game going, so he makes the rules to where, you know, you have a good chance to win, and he can see how you perceive whether they're traps or, you know, different story, like, you know, and things of that nature. And I'm no GM. I am no version of a GM at all. Like, I'm not even trying to say that I am. I am not in any way, form, or fashion. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could, because I would love to GM a superhero RPG, tabletop RPG. I love that. Like, one of my favorites has to be Mutants and Masterminds. I think 2nd edition, and I've never got to play it because everybody was so used to, or still used to, you know, Dungeons & Dragons, or I forgot another one. They had a movie about it a while back, but I can't remember. Pathfinder, right? That's the big, you know, the big stuff. Don't get me wrong. There are other ones. Don't get me wrong. There are others out there that have their own movies. So I'm not saying that those, you know, I'm just giving names, right? So a lot of the times when it comes to, you know, this stuff, people forget that comic book writers are basically GMs, right? They got to set the story up, you know, to a certain degree. You know, it's just not, the GM basically just sets stories up. That's what I'm trying to say. That's their real goal. You know what I'm saying? And the illustrators, that's what they do. They illustrate. You know, but instead of using, let's say, pictures, a lot of the times, because it's mostly, if you look at it, the illustrator and the, I'm trying to say it's the right way, the illustrator and the storyteller, the GMs both, that's the thing. You know, the GM usually just goes out and literally goes to, like, nowadays, Dollar Tree or something like that, and gets a whole bunch of stuff. He might even have a 3D printer in his house, in his, her, or their house, and prints out whatever they want, you know, to have a visual representation of what's going on in the GM's mind, and then everybody just kind of goes through it and, you know, explore it. You know,
you're not as meek as many.
So a lot of the time, it's just the fact that they're going through the story and they're having a good time. You know, and the way that you have so much freedom to do whatever you really want to do, that's what GM usually has their fun a lot of the time. Now, I'm no pro. I'm nowhere close to being a pro of any kind, of any way. So I'm not touching none of that. You know, I am not there. But what I can say is that a good story will make people come and play Dungeons and Dragons for years. Like, there's some campaigns right now that are like 5 years old. I've heard of someone actually having a 5-year long campaign, and the only reason why it didn't work out is because some of the players had to lives. So, you know, things happen and they had to stop it. Some people had to stop and come back, and you know, and it just, you know, wasn't the same, or just things happen. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying that anything is right or wrong about that. I mean, people have lives, you know, but these campaigns can sometimes go for long periods of time. Wholeheartedly, you know. So she has a healing kiss. Oh, witch's kiss, I'm sorry. But yeah, like, you know, depending on just what the story has them doing, and think about it, the majority of the time, the rules can be changed because the GM just wants to have fun too, you know? So, and because it's not technology and, you know, all this and all that, and think about it, when D&D first came out, they didn't have all that. They had, you know, rules and I think, and what messes me up a lot of times, not gonna lie, is the fact that everything is from your mind, which is imagination, right? And stats, which kind of messes me up a lot. You know, I'm like, okay, I can do this or I can do that. I can do this or I can do that. And I'm thinking in terms of, you know, oh, well, I'm searching a room, and okay, I'm physically, no, you have steps that you have to follow. You know, so, you know, it's a different, like I said, it's a different kind of gameplay that a lot of people are not used to, or probably don't want to. The thing, it takes a lot of work. Like, you have to be truly dedicated to do that. Truly dedicated. There is no middleman. You have to love it, or at least like it to a point where, you know, it's second nature, and that's what you really want to do. Because you give your time. You know, if you're driving, you give your money. Time is more important than money. Being honest. So yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to do that. So in saying that, you know, I could go into the classes and everything, but at the end of the day, it's all about the story. And think about it, I just talked about comic books, right? The illustrators and the writers and you know, storytellers or whatever. And you know, if their stories were horrible, you wouldn't come back to them, right? So as a GM, your story has to be like wonderful and continuously being worked on and changed, and you know, and it can change it in a whim, but it has to be interesting enough. It has to be so interesting to the point where somebody would spend time and money, not as in giving you money, but, you know, resources to, you know, spend gas money. And, you know, the one thing you don't, like, most people never think about is giving up time. Time you can't get back. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's the one resource that you can't get back, and you're giving hours of your time. You know, and sometimes, you know, some GMs be like, "Hey, you know, if you buy me some cookies, I can do A, B, C, and D." You know what I'm saying? You know, so you know, and that's just being stupid. I mean, come on. If they're giving up that much time and effort, go ahead. Buy them some dollar store cookies and call it a day. You know, go to Dollar Tree or something like that. Like, here you go, man. I appreciate you. Because some people want to get something for nothing because you ain't got to spend no money. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but at the end of the day, it's about having fun. You know, you can go to the library and carve out a room. Well, not carve, but, you know, make an appointment to go to a large room so you can have a good time. And, you know, depending on who's playing, you know, like I said, some of these games can go for a long period of time. Some people might have been in high school and they met up at the game and they'd be friends for a long period of time, even after the game is done 5 years later, and be like, oh, you know what? I remember when I was a paladin, I did this. Or I was a magician, I did this. And you see what I'm saying? So you know, it's a thing. And I don't hate on it because you wouldn't have got some of the stories we got now, you know, without it. You wouldn't get WoW without D&D. Think about that for a minute. You wouldn't get most of the RPGs, at least the way that they are, to a certain degree without. Because think about it. What did the people who made the games do a lot of the times? And I mean, I'm not going to credit everything to that. But, you know, it's always an inspiration, you know? So, I mean, I'm just, you know, it's just something to think about. It really is. And like I said, it's a section in life where... Because I want to say this the right way. If you choose, I would not diss anybody that play D&D, but also I would say I wish they made it a little more simpler and streamline it just a little bit, so people who don't play the game religiously could get into it and have a good time. You know, that's my thing. And, you know, like I said, I'm not hating on it. I'm not hating on it at all. I mean, I'm playing now. You know, and I'm having a good time. And, you know, it's a stress reliever. It's like, okay, I'm focusing on this. I ain't got to focus on the stress and crap that I got to deal with on an average basis. And I don't really have to spend any money. Like, the most I probably spend is, like, gas money. I'm not saying gas isn't expensive. I'm saying I'm just spending gas money. Driving down and back. And sometimes I can just be on the phone and just spend some hours, you know, maybe a little pre-session, just saying, okay, I want to do this. And then you get the freedom if the GM says you can, and he's not like, and that person, I can't say male or female, you know, not because it's not, but it's like, you know, there are a lot of female GMs out there. So, but, you know, they give you the freedom to really do what you want. You see what I'm saying? Like, really give you that actual freedom to do whatever you really want to do.
Come on, people, pick up the pace.
You know, if you want to be a warrior that's a paladin also, you can do that, right? They give you the okay. If you want just bits and pieces that work for you, and, you know, if you want to be a non-violent Shaolin monk, you can be that way. Which, I don't, you know, if you want to be if you want to be Wolverine, you can be that. Deadpool, you can be that. Devil May Cry characters, you can be that. You have the freedom if the GM gives the okay, you can be that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. They give you the okay, go for it. Have fun, be you. If you want to be two opposing classes and the GM lets you do it, Go for it. Go for it wholeheartedly. If one class can speed up the process for what you're really trying to do, okay, I'm gonna go subclass here, and then I'm gonna do this and this and this, you know, a rogue, but I'm also be a warrior, you know, or whatever. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, some people are bent up on the rules. I'm not gonna lie. Some people are, and I do understand why. No hate on them. But some people are bent on the rules. You know, we can only do this because we're 3.5, you know, 5 point whatever, or 5th edition, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not, hey, look, I totally understand, I get it, and you get no arguments from me on that. But, you know, when it comes to, at the end of the day, it's literally all about having what? Fun. It's like watching anime. It's just about having fun watching anime. You might not like the anime that's being played. Let's say you're watching, back in the day, that you had to sneak into certain places to watch anime for free. Before the internet was really booming with it. You know, you had to download the episodes, and you had to do this, and you had to do that. And I mean, it was a chore in itself, where now you just go to Netflix, pay your little $10-15 now, and then just do, you know, go on there and call it a day. Back in the day, you had to download on MP3. Well, I don't know it. You had to download it. Every episode. Waste valuable computer space. Or upload it to, I don't know. I'm not a computer person, even though I'm doing this on a computer. But you got to upload it to certain things. So see, you had to upload it, you know, and transfer it and all this kind of stuff. And it's like the work that came through it, like no one will ever understand it unless you were there in that era. You know, anime is now like a thing, you know. Because they got Comic-Cons that back it up, and it's all commercialized and stuff like that. You know, but, you know, some people couldn't watch, I think, because remember, for a long time, anime was only in Japanese. So you could only watch it in Japanese. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could literally only watch it in Japanese, which means you either had to learn Japanese, or they had like English dub. I mean, not English dub. They had I'm not saying that they didn't have it in English dub. You had to find it first, but you had to read the subtitles. You literally had to read episodes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally had to read episodes. I kid you not. You had to read episodes, and you had to read it fast too, because you know the Japanese tongue is not like the American tongue, or I'm say it that way, but it is what it is. But it is true. You know what I'm saying? It's not the pronunciation of words. You know what? I don't know Japanese. I don't know Korean. I don't know none of that. And I know it's different cultures. So I'm saying, I'm being clear. Because I want to make sure I say this right. For example, and I'm not saying this is true, dog, how we say it, might not be the way they say dog. Right? Like, a lot of times we might say a simple sentence that might be like 4 or 5 words long, and it's cool. For them, it'll be 2 full sentences saying the same thing. And then in reverse, you know, what would take us like 4 or 5 sentences to say, they might say it in like 3 words. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's a thing. So, you know, you have to understand that. I'll go with these two. yeah, I gotta level them up. But yeah, you kind of gotta understand that when do I really want to do that? Or do I want to come down here? Sorry, I had to read something. Is that like I said with D&D, with role playing games in general, it's like, look, you can either, I'll go with health, and then yeah, I'll go with health. Oh wait, I missed one. Hold on. Let's see. What's this? I'll go here this time. Get rid of that. But yeah, like, with D&D and stuff like that, it's a different beast. It's just like any other mechanic. The only thing is, it's not a problem. The only thing is, it's not mechanical based, or it's not internet based. It's not on your phone. A lot of times, the information might be there, but it's all in your imagination. It's all in your imagination. So if you're not willing to put in that kind of work, you just want things to be automatic and that's it, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. That's what you got to do. So it's one of those things where you don't hate on it because it came before everything else. When it comes to gaming, it still exists. People still play it. But humans also do what comes easy, And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's like think about it. The Pony Express doesn't exist anymore. Why? Because cars and planes and emails and stuff like that exist now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah. I mean, people still want to do it. They're gonna do it. And if they don't want to do it, it's all good. But at least understand the history behind it. And that way, you're not coming out with these videos where they take old footage that came before their time and go like, oh, look at this brand new. This ain't brand new. This came out 10 years ago. Like the stuff that Tesla came out with, you know what I'm saying? Some of the stuff, not all of it, but came out 10 years ago. Stuff that, the little car vending machine things came out years ago. I don't know. But anyway, that's my time. This is Chaos Rip is signing out saying thank you. Have a blessed, wonderful, fantastic day. Please, please, please respect the history that came before you so you don't end up wait, I know the best way to say this. I'm sorry. I'm trying to go off the dome. Learn history or you'll be doomed to repeat it. Respect what came before you or be doomed to be cursed the same way they were too. Alright? This is Chaos River signing out saying